fans of a Horus heresy, building resin miniatures, and getting good results for the minimum effort required. Thank you very much for joining me for another demonstration video, another one of Leakycheese's how-tos. And thank you for all your kind comments on the first couple of videos I've done of this series, where I've been rejuvenating and bringing up to date some of my earlier how-to guide videos, just with 4K camera resolution, some new ideas, and any experience I've accrued over the last couple of years. So thank you for that. Now, today's video, I'm going to be talking about a little building hack, we could say. So building hack. So yeah, building hack. But unlike certain cookery channels, this works. What I'm going to show you today is a neat little trick on how to quickly fill smaller air bubbles in cast resin parts. Now, what does this look like? So here we've got one of the track units from the Triaros armoured conveyor, the Mechanicum Triaros conveyor I'm currently working on. And I've been doing the cleanup on this. It's all looking very nice and swishy after a bit of old sanding and cutting. But on the rear of the track unit, you can see that there are a number of small air bubbles. And I'll just point them out with this nice blade here. So there's one here, there's one here, one here, and there's a couple here, although those are really very tiny. Now, resin models, because of how they're cast, air bubbles are not an uncommon feature, and particularly where you've got details like this, which were in effect at the top of the casting gate, and not all the air has been able to be shaken out by the machine, the vibrating machine they used to do that. Yeah, so we have got a couple of air bubbles. Now, because this is on a tank track unit, these are perhaps not in the most concerning place if you were going to put some like gunge or stuff on, weathering on the tracks to make it look like it was caked in mud. However, because it's a useful example I've got ready to do at the moment, I'm just going to work with it and just say, well, if we wanted this thing to look like it just rolled out the repair shop, freshly cleaned, it wouldn't have air bubbles in it. So how do we get rid of those? And it's really, really easy, this little technique, and you can save yourself a lot of time. Now, filler, you can use fillers, epoxy fillers and stuff like that. They tend to take longer to set. This is pretty much instantaneous. And the way we're going to do this is using super glue. So this is just some thick super glue that comes in a miter bond kit. And it's the other half of the miter bond kit that we're particularly interested in here. And that's this can, this aerosol can here. And this is a miter bond fast, or a miter fast bond activator, 2-part system, bonds in 10 seconds. Well, this will be even quicker than that. Yeah, super glue, activator. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use the super glue as a filler, and we're going to use the activator to set it quickly, so we don't have to wait for the glue to set in place. And it's as simple as that. Using this approach, you can sometimes avoid the need to use modelling putties at all, which, while very effective, typically have drying times of a few hours and then may need some sanding or further cleanup work to get a smooth finish. This, we're going to be done very quickly. So tools we have, as well as the activator, the super glue, we have just a simple old knife. You could use any sort of hobby, like hobby tool, applicator, cocktail stick, whatever you're comfortable with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get a dab of glue onto a knife blade and fill the air bubbles. And then I'm going to take the activator and just quickly spray where I've put the glue to set it instantaneously. And it's as simple as that. So without further ado, let's crack on with this one. So it really is a quickie. I just forget where I got this idea from. I don't know if I figured it out myself or if I picked it up from a friend. It does save a lot of time. So we've got a blob of glue, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run that into this little air bubble here. And what we're looking to do is get the surface filled. Now that needs a bit more of that because the glue's disappeared into quite a large cavity in there. So you can now see that the glue is slightly proud. Let's see if we can get it. There you go. Yeah. Give the activator a quick shake, and then we're done. And you can see the glistening is a mixture of the activator and the propellant gas from the aerosol can. And that will very quickly evaporate away. And then we have a nice hard filled cavity. So no need to use modelling putty. And then what we can do is we can take a sharp scalpel or whatever hobby tool you use, and maybe just scrape off the surface and just level it down to the rest of the detail. I mean, this works really well because superglue, when it's set, it's very hard and it's a perfectly good filling material. You can also buy some super fine grained powders that you mix with superglue, and you basically get a very quick reaction, and you can use superglue as a filler that way. Those powders are useful for doing larger cavities. This method only works up to a certain size, I think. After that, the fact that the superglue is a liquid, the way its viscosity affects its behavior will kind of limit the cavity size that you can use this technique on. Looking pretty good now. Yeah. Happy with that. Let's now do these two holes here, so slightly larger holes. We've got some glue on the knife already. I'm just going to wipe that off and get some fresh glue. I could have done this all at one go, but I thought just to break the demonstration down for you guys and girls, I would just do it in 2 steps. So again, I'm going to use the tip of a knife to feed the super glue into the cavities. That's good. Again, we'll take our accelerant, just give it a quick set, and then we'll wait the activator and propellant to just evaporate. And if you just wait while it evaporates, it also makes sure that the activation reaction has chance to penetrate down into the depth of the glue. Another limiting factor with this is, I don't know if I've encountered this myself, but a friend who was trying to fill using this technique did a bit too much, and he kind of found that the outside set, he thought it was fully done, and then it broke and there was loads of glue left inside. So that's another reason to perhaps just think about using this on the smaller cavities and air bubbles as opposed to really big things. I'm not sure what the upper limit of filling size you would have on this is, but certainly like little small pin air bubbles like this. Just going to get a needle file, just do a little bit of filing off. It's absolutely ideal for, it's such a neat little technique. And this is one of those things that when you know it, it just makes that whole preparation part of resin models that bit easier to do. And you can save yourself time because you are always going to get air bubbles on resin models. I've seen resin models from dozens of miniature manufacturers, and at some point you tend to get at least some, even from those manufacturers who do really good quality kits. I'm just running my finger over that now. That feels pretty smooth, so I'm happy with that. Let's just have a quick finish on those 2 little ones. I mean, arguably, I don't know if you would even need to fill these, but as we've started, let's just finish them off. Going to have a bit more cleanup to do here. Make sure you're working in a room with the window open as well. If you're going to be spraying a lot of Activator indoors, it is full of all sorts of hydrocarbons. It's not dangerous, but it might be just a case of keeping things ventilated for the politeness of other members of your household, if that's a concern. It's not everybody who's a fan of these sorts of smells. There we go. Need to take a little bit more down here. There we go. So, in a matter of a few minutes there, given that I've been faffing around in how I did this, we filled a series of small air bubbles in a cast resin part, in this case on this Forge Wall Triaros armoured conveyor. Really, really good, that, I think. And as I say, it's a great technique, ever so simple, and one worth doing. These Mechanicum kits in the UK, they're dead easy to pick up. I buy mine at Screwfix. There are lots of other DIY suppliers who carry them. You can pay anything from maybe £8 for a smaller one up to this, which I think this one's about 13 quid. So I get a lot of glue and a lot of Activator for that money, so I don't think it's bad at all. As always, I hope you found this an interesting and useful demonstration. Is this a technique you use or are aware of? Do you have any other top tips for how to fill cavities and air bubble holes on resin models? As always, I'll be very interested to hear in the comment section. And if you have any other ideas for modelling technique video demonstrations that you think I might be able to do, please do share those as well. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.